While Russia attacks Ukraine, the Biden administration's blunders on the world stage are under the microscope as Vice President Kamala Harris stumbles repeatedly during her visit overseas.
How long should we be bracing for this really sort of historic inflation and some unprecedented gas prices?
Sure. We are in constant communication with the president, with his administration here.
Is the United States willing to make a specific allocation for Ukrainian refugees?
Okay. A friend in need is a friend in need.
Rachel, I want to go ahead and start with you because you brought up this issue of prevention when it comes to the war in Ukraine. And it comes back to Kamala Harris because this administration talked about how it was going to use diplomacy to try to get us through this, to try to prevent a war. It didn't work. And then you see her there. Whenever she's uncomfortable, whenever she doesn't know the answer to a question, you get that cackle. She has a history of doing it. Or she can't answer the question on inflation. These are the leaders that are in charge of this when we are potentially on the verge of World War III.
Yeah, it's very troubling. I mean, this is the most dangerous period of time I remember really in my lifetime. These are scary, scary times. We have someone like her being sent into this very precarious situation. It's practically a tinderbox, and that's how she performs for us. And what's interesting to me, especially as a minority woman, is that anyone who criticizes this obviously lackluster performance on her part will say a lot of a lot of liberals will say, well, it's racism if you criticize her. And I think about Condoleezza Rice, who was, somebody who we never questioned. You don't have to agree with her politics or her politics, but we never questioned her intelligence. We never questioned how well she represented this country, her class, her grace. She never had moments like this. And so I think I don't know what they're saying, that Democrat minority women should be held to a different standard. I don't think so. This is a very dangerous time. We need to put our best foot forward. They promised us they were going to be the adults in the room. I haven't seen that yet. They just had a summit this week with a bunch of TikTok influencers to talk about this situation in Ukraine. Yeah. It's depressing.
And speaking of playing the racism card or many of the other cards, sexism, whatnot, the View host, this was their take on how the public is treating Kamala Harris. Watch this.
I personally think if she was a guy, they would never say it.
This is based in racism. This is based in misogyny. And we're talking about a woman that has extensive experience abroad, extensive experience as an attorney, extensive experience as the chief legal officer of one of our largest states in the country. And I think this is just much ado about nothing.
Absolutely. There's a racial aspect to it.
All right. Joey, I want to have get your take on that, your reaction to that. They were trying to list her credentials, but yet we see in the sound bites that we had how she acts, and so the public is being criticized for its criticism of her.
If they think that we're a little bit too tough on Kamala Harris, just wait till they hear the criticisms we have of, I don't know, Joe Biden, the white guy that's 70 years old, sitting in the Oval Office, and he can't get through a speech without saying something that leaves us puzzled. He can't deliver a message to Putin without saying, but you can have a minor incursion, that'd be okay. He can't get through his own Democratic conference or whatever they just had without trying to convince people that know better that inflation is Putin's fault over the last month. Listen, we're going to criticize leaders who don't lead. And we're going to criticize leaders who make us look bad on the world stage. That's what Kamala Harris has done, regardless of her gender, race, or orientation, or any of those things.
Yeah, and Griff, real quick to you, as we're watching this play out, this is an administration that continues to act on its heels, right? And I think back to the withdrawal from Afghanistan, and I think prevention, again, could have been a useful tool there. And so we're watching this play out in real time in a different situation, and so many people are wondering, is the administration incompetent? Is it an unwillingness to accept what's happening in the world and step up? Because, there is the argument to be made that if President Trump was in the White House, this wouldn't be happening because he was feared in some ways by some of these vicious leaders.
Jackie, I'll leave the history books to answer that question, but this was by no means a Mr. Gorbachev tear down that wall Reagan statement, laughing, standing next to the Polish president, and the gravity of which the stakes are high, as Rachel pointed out. This is a very, very serious moment. You do not need a U.S. leader laughing at a time like this.
That's right.
All right, coming up.
Definitely missing Reagan right now, by the way.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.